Hi guys and welcome to Zombie Locker. Now, Day of the Dead is one of the most iconic zombie films ever. It's easily the best in the series. I know a lot of people prefer Dawn, but I prefer Day. I think a lot of other people felt the same when it first came out. They were gravitating towards Dawn. They were saying Day was weaker, it was slower. But as I grew up, and like most people, I've grown to love it and I've grown to prefer it. Now, Day of the Dead has one of the most iconic opening scenes ever, and it's the dream sequence where Sarah touches the calendar and the zombie hands come through the wall. Normally, I would say a dream sequence is a bit of a cop out, but it's become so famous, so iconic. It's even featured in Stranger Things, and you know that's a testament. So, the main opening scene is when they arrive in Florida and the streets are deserted, they're calling for survivors. Nobody's coming, no humans are coming, and then the dead emerge from the shops. And that's where you really feel the bleakness. You really feel this is the end of time. You've got all these zombies coming out. You've got an alligator slithering out of, like, I think maybe a bank or a building. And I always thought the two zombies behind the alligator really looked out of place. They look overweight, they don't walk like the other zombies. And then I found out that they are actually alligator wranglers. They had to be close to the animal, so they just put on zombie makeup so they can blend into the scene. Works perfectly. There's another scene where you got a zombie with a tarantula on his shoulder, obviously showing that these zombies, they're not human. They don't even realise there's a tarantula on the shoulder. Now, if I was fucking dead as a zombie, I'd still shit my pants. Now, you've got that great shot of money blowing down the street. It perfectly sums up this movie as if, like, the world is fucked and money has no value whatsoever. And it is simple but so effective. So the main part of this movie is filmed in an underground bunker. It's actually filmed in a limestone mine, whatever that is. And I think George Romero's kind of set it up. He kind of scouted this area to film, and it's perfect. You've got these mines, you've got this army base. It is so perfect for this movie. It helped keep the budget down because you could kind of go one location, and you've got that claustrophobia. And I think, even though the budget was slashed in this, I think it works better because it's very isolated. Now, the characters are fantastic in this. When you've got such a low budget, the characters have to breathe. They've got time to breathe. They've got time to act. They don't have to worry about big, massive explosions and piles of zombies every 5 seconds. They can ramp up the tension, the claustrophobia. Sarah is the lead character. She's not just the girl boss. She's not just the final girl. She is perfect. Now, she becomes kind of a final girl at the end, but she is a strong character, but she has to be. She's the only female in the cast, which is made up of soldiers and scientists. So she kind of has to hold her own. So Sarah is in a relationship with Miguel. He's one of the other soldiers. He's kind of pathetic, but you kind of feel sorry for him. He's pretty much the most tortured soul in there. I don't know if he pissed off George Romero, but this character goes through hell. He has his arm chopped off, he gets bitten, he gets eaten alive, gets bullied, gets drugged. Honestly, he is tortured all the way through. And he's a bit pathetic, but I suppose he's the only one who kind of feels that the end of the world is coming. But now, even though zombies are taking over the world and literally is the end of the world, I think Sarah could still do better than Miguel. Now, my favourite character in this is Rhodes, Captain Rhodes. He's the villain of the piece. He's not a proper villain. He's like the Johnny Lawrence of this movie, where it's questionable how evil he is. Yeah, it seems on the surface he's nasty, but he's the captain. His men are getting lost. They're dying all the time, and he's stuck down there. And the scientists don't seem to be making leeway with a cure for the virus or any sort of solution. And he's getting pissed off. So you're kind of half rooting for him, half hate him. He's a fantastic character. And then you got Dr. Frankenstein, which is Dr. Logan, and he's experimenting on the dead. He's not a great actor, but without him and without his experiments, even though his plan is ridiculous to domesticate zombies, without that you wouldn't get Bub, which is arguably most people's favourite character. He is a lovable zombie. He's the most intelligent zombie, and I don't think it would have worked if you just had any old extra player zombie. You had to have a good actor, and Howard Sherman nails it. Now, the zombie makeup in this is top-notch. Tom Savini is a master. You've even got Greg Nicotero in this as a character, and he's Tom Savini's a protege, and he went on to make Walking Dead. And yeah, I think he sort of cut his teeth in this film. It's the zombie makeup is spot on, especially on Bub, because you have a lot of attention on Bub. The camera doesn't leave him a lot. You can get away with some ropey zombies if they're in the background, especially towards the end. But Bub's makeup has to be perfect. And it is spot on every wrinkle. It is just as good as anything you'll find on The Walking Dead or Dawn of the Dead, the remake of Dawn of the Dead, Army of the Dead. Now, some of the zombies in the background are a bit ropey, but that's just budgetary reasons. It happens in all zombie films. And I think the difficulty with zombie movies is you have to have good makeup. And that's why some of the older movies zombie fans struggle with, or normally struggle with, because if the makeup's not good, kind of zombie movies fall apart. But this one's top notch. Now towards the end, the zombies storm the bunker. You've got a shitload of zombies, and you've got some dodgy ones, some awesome ones. You've got an American football zombie. So I'm guessing he was playing American football when he got bitten. You've got a clown, which George Romero loves clowns or hates them. He's got one in Diary of the Dead, one in Land of the Dead, one in this one, possibly in the other ones. I'm not sure. 3 zombies. I don't know what a clown would be doing. Did he get bitten while he was in a kid's party? You've even got a bride with a veil. Now, visually it looks cool, but you're like, was she getting married when she got bitten, or mid married, or did she get infected, get married before she died? Who knows? But it is cool. And then you've got all these fantastic kills. Some of the best practical effects ever put to screen. Tom Savini was working his fucking ass off with this. You got some of the most horrifying kills where the eye gets ripped, the head gets ripped off, and you hear that squeaky, high-pitched voice as if the vocals are getting stretched. It's horrible. Poor old Dr. Frankenstein Logan gets killed, gets shot by the soldiers. I don't know why he doesn't come back from the dead, because he didn't get shot in the head. But it kind of influences Bub Ben to have revenge, to get Rhodes. Now, he shoots Rhodes, and Rhodes has the worst death of anybody. He gets his legs ripped off, or half his body ripped off. They had to use pig organs or animal organs. And the story goes, they were in a fridge for a few weeks. Somebody had unplugged it, and they were rotting. So the poor bastard had to endure all that horrible, rotten smell. But he nailed it, and he delivers one of the best lines ever. I would say most of George Romero's zombie movies are pretty bleak. This is probably the bleakest of all, most disturbing. So Sarah, John, and McDermott, they escape the bunker. They end up on a desert island, and it's kind of a happy ending. I think if you're ever prepping for a zombie apocalypse, forget about learning to shoot, forget about weapons, get your helicopter license, because if you can fly a helicopter, you're always safe in these movies. So what are your thoughts on Day of the Dead? Drop a comment, and if you love zombies, please subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys.